So in my previous session, we were working on weights, then the verification of title of web pages. Then we work for few navigation of commands like history, back, and then the refresh. Then we work on frames, then the alert boxes, and then drop down boxes are left. So we start from the drop down boxes for today. I need to start my clips. Do you guys have any questions from previous classes? You can ask me if you have any doubt or something.
Ravindra?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Would you be able to just clarify if you will be touching on the encrypted entries,
Mm, what?
like for password
Yeah.
password entries, where we instead of explicitly giving the password in this code,
Hmm.
do we just go with the encryption tool and then use that encrypted thing into the code?
Yeah. Basically, you can use a encryption. There is a Java encryption, so you can search like Java encryption. Just an example.
So this is specifically for Java code. You have to use this Java
Yes.
encryption tool. Okay.
So you can see here there is a key generator class. So you can use these kind of it is AES algorithm. You can similarly for DES algorithm. There are different kinds of encryption algorithm that you can use.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is specific to Java. You can use any other tool. It has to be that
Yeah.
Java
You
understands.
know any of the encryption algorithm, Java provides each one of you for you. You can use the code in Eclipse integration with Selenium.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So now we can start from our drop down boxes. So firstly, we need to choose our example, which example on which we want to work. So we can work on one example. So you can see there is a drop down box here. When I click on this option, it shows me option 1 and option 2. So when we are working on the drop down list, we need to give the element of this drop down. Then there is a function using which function we can select the values. So there are three kind of functions are available for drop down boxes. Either we can select by this value or the index, or you can see the drop down and inspect. When you are just searching the drop down, it's showing me select id drop down select. So you can see each drop down is having the tag select. You can see here it's just select, and then when you open this tag, it will show you options. So it option has value. This is the visible text. Option 1, option 2 is the visible text, which is actually the text of option. This is the value of option, and I can say it's a index. Index means the zero option, one option, two option, and like that. So this is like of index of list. So we can choose by three functions. Either it is by index, by value, or by visible text. How can we use in the code? I'll show you. Firstly, we need to grab this drop down URL. We need to create a code for demo, like for drop down. We have set the Chrome browser and create a driver and then provide implicit wait. Here we can specify our URL in get, so it will launch our URL in the browser. Then we can give some wait, hard code wait, using thread.sleep, so we are able to visible what the action is going on the browser. Otherwise it will be very fast, so we are not able to observe what is going on in the browser. So that's why I put some thread.sleep. Now I want to select some option 2 from this drop down, like this. So I want to select option 2 from this drop down. So firstly I want to give the id name, I mean the locator for this element, for this drop down. So when I hover it, it shows me select id equals to drop down. So remember, we need to give the id or name, I mean locator, for this select, not the inside the option. I need to give the locator for this select. The locator for select is id is drop down. So we can copy this drop down id and paste it here, and I want to just give the id locator. So this is id. So here you can see I'm using driver.find element by the drop down to find the element of this drop down. So we can store this drop down in the web element because it returns the element type which is web element. As you already know this because I have used in many of previous videos. You can give any variable name. Now after getting the element of this select, I want to choose the option from this drop down. So there is a function which is select class. There's a class select which is provided by, when you use control plus space, it will show you this one, second one. It is org.openqa.selenium.support.ui. So this class is available with the Selenium APIs. So using this select API, we can select the value from drop down. So I need to import this. I can click on it and I enter it. You can see this is available in import. So now the select is available. I can create the object of the select class so that we can use a function using that object. So I can give any name. So here you can see when I'm creating the object of the select class, it asking me for the web element on which I want to perform the selection of the value. So here I can give my web element which is drop down. So here I need to copy this variable into here. So now this select object is created to provide some functionality, using which functionality I can select the value from drop down. So now when you use this object and press dot, you can have lots of options to perform the action over this drop down. So you can see deselect all, deselect by visible text, deselect by value, get all selector options, notify is multiple, select by. So there there is three options, I mean functions, which is important for us as of now, like select by index, select by value, and select by visible text. Firstly, we will try with value. So here you can see the option 1 has value 1 and option 2 has value 2. So when you open the browser, it defaultly, when you refresh it, default option is please select an option. So I want to select option 2. Option 2 has value 2. You can see the value equals to 2. So I can give the value 2. So now when I run this code, so you can see option 2 is selected because we have given the value 2. So there are lots of, not lots of, only the three functions are available to select the value. Firstly, I've used the select by value. Then I can use the visible text. Select by visible text. So what is visible text? Visible text which is visible to the user. Like here in the option 1, visible text is option 1, and in the option 2 is visible text is option 2. So what we can give, I want to select the option 2. So here I can give visible text is option 2. When I'm trying to run it, so you can see option 2 is selected. So there is one more option is available to select the value by index. So index is basically you can count the list. First option is 0, second is 1, and then 2. So I want to select the option 2. So its index is 0, 1, and 2. So index is 2. So we can give the index to here, select by index. So index is 2. So you can see it is list. So it's asking for me to provide the input as an integer. So I need to provide the integer. So it's a 2. So we are not giving it in the double quotes, because when we have put value in the double quotes, that means it will consider as a string. So when I run this code, so you can see option 2 is selected. So these are three types using which you can select the value from drop down box. Suppose there is a chance, if you want to get all the options in the list, so you can do that also. If you want to select, just want to print all the options, so there is a function using get all of selected options. So you can use this function. So it will return a list. So you can create the same type of element. So you can iterate that. So I've created an option variable of same type because this function returns a list of web element. So now I can iterate this option. I want to print each and every option which is available inside the list. List means the drop down box, because as of now this is drop down box which is returning me the list of all the options are available. So I can use a for loop. In my previous classes you have seen how can we use the for loop. So we can use the for loop to iterate the type of list which is web element. So I need to give the web element here, then any temp variable, then the list name. Now I can iterate it. So in iteration I want to just print on the console all the values of options. So I can use this out, then I am using temp variable to print it. When I am trying to run it, so you can see here what it printed. It's printed tag name option because I just printed the text. I have not printed any like text of option. So I want to get the text from this element. So I can use get text function to print it because this is the web element. I want to get the text from this element. So I can use the function get text. So you can see the option which is selected is printed here. But if I want to print all the options are available inside the list, so there there is a different function which we can try. This is get options. So we can use get options to print all the options are to print the options available in the drop down. When I trying to run it, so you can see it will print all the options which are available under the drop down. But there is a question, if I'm using first one, the get all selected options, why it's returning me the list of web element, because selected option can be only one. In case of drop down, if you are talking about drop down, selected option is only one, so it should return me the only web element. But why is returning the list of web element? Because the same concept we can apply for list. uh, there is another element, I can show you that. Thing which is not available. uh, so I can print in multiple selection list box.
Hi Pravindra, could you
Yeah.
please repeat the difference between select get all selected options? From get all selected options, you're saying it does not get all the drop down elements?
Yes, it will only printed the selected options.
Okay. Though it says get all selected options. So
Yeah.
you mean from the drop down, I could select more than one, right?
Uh,
Like I can use control key and I can more than one options can I pick?
no, that's what I want to tell you. That is in the case of list box. There is a list box. You might have seen in some cases there is a list box where you can select multiple options. Like I can go to the Naukri.com. I think Naukri.com is available. I've seen that. Um, Again, register. So you can see in preferred location in this is Naukri.com is available. There's a preferred location. So here you can select multiple options, right? Here I can select Ahmedabad, Bengaluru.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah. So this kind of element you can see is a list box. So in
Right.
this element I can select multiple options. So when you are using get all selected options, it will basically print all selected options for list box.
Okay.
So
So
this
in that case, it
yeah
will pick the two options you selected.
yes
Right. Whereas if you use just dot get options, then it will pick everything in that list.
yes
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
okay. So basically this selection class will work for all the selection kind of boxes, like either it is list box or drop down. So now we can move ahead with JavaScript execution. So here you can see there is three elements on the page. This one, this first user one, two, and three. So when we am trying to hover it, you can click on view profile. Otherwise, you are not able to view profile link. So if suppose if you can also use the hover function to hover on the element, but sometimes hover is not working because this is dependent on the can say on the OS part. Sometimes hover is not working, so you are not able to click on view profile, because to click on some element, it should be visible to the browser. So when I'm trying to inspect this element, you can see the view profile link is available, but it is not visible to the browser. So when you are trying to run it, when I'm trying to click on it, it will throw an exception that element is not visible. If element is not visible, so how can you click on that element? You can click on any kind of element which is available on browser, but it's not visible. But you are only able to do that using JavaScript. But you cannot do that using simple click function of Selenium. I'll show you once using Selenium, then we will work with JavaScript. So suppose this is class fig caption, so I want to use, there are four. First one, second, third. Okay. So there are three view profile link is available with the class. You can also use Firefox if you're not comfortable to create the XPath. You can use Firefox as well. In Firefox, Firebug is available. So using Firebug, we can create the XPath. So you can see this is hidden, and these are the tags which is available. So in this, I need to inspect in Firepath panel. So this is XPath. So basically, you can choose XPath using div. I can remove this div using double slash to create the XPath. Okay, Basu is asking that how can we create the XPath using Chrome. In XPath, to create the XPath, you need to be expert to understand the node concept. Basically, XPath is nothing but the combination of node and the attribute which is unique for that node. So if I want to create an XPath of any link, like this link, what I can do, I need to just go to this element, like I want to scroll in command line, Firefox panel. So this is the default path which is created by XPath. I mean, this is created by Firebug. But if I want to view, if I am viewing this anchor tag, you can see is href is only attribute available with the anchor tag. So I need to move one step before this element. So I mean to say that I need to go to back to parent one. So this is the parent of this node. You can see this is the parent node. So this has option class. So again, I think class is might be the same for other elements also. Then I need to go back to the other parent node. So this is also use a class figure. This might be the class, and I need to trace back till the ID is available. This is the ID. So ID would be unique. So I am going to use this ID. So
Already
this is
using the ID there, right? I'm sorry, isn't that already using the ID there?
this is using ID.
Right.
So we can copy this XPath as well, or we can create by our own. Okay, this is XPath. I need to give XPath. I need to give the URL. Then I want to click on this link. This is V profile 1, and then I want to click on this link. I'm trying to run it. So you can see there is one error is available. So it's showing the error. It's showing me unexpected behavior, but it's not showing what kind of error I'm getting. Okay, so what I can do to remove this kind of error, because the element is actually not visible to the browser. When I hover it, then it will visible to the user. So in that cases, either I can hover on the element, then I click, but sometimes hover is not working, so we can choose JavaScript to click on that function. So how can we uh, execute the function using JavaScript? So this I am having currently the web element. I want to perform some action using JavaScript. So I want to perform this click function using JavaScript. So I can comment out this function right now and create a JavaScript. So basically there is a syntax for JavaScript. Firstly, I need to cast the driver using JavaScript executor, which is OpenQA Selenium. Then you can give the name of this. You can get this syntax from Selenium HQ's website or on the Google. It's not very difficult, but if you are able to remember it, it's very easy. Then using this reference, I can get the execute script function. It asking me for two arguments. So first argument is the script which I want to execute, which is JavaScript, and the second argument is it would be arguments 0, arguments 1, or it could be arguments n. We can put any number of arguments here, which basically goes to the script which I am creating here. So I can give you the example. I want to perform the click function on the element. Which element? This is the argument 0. If I am providing like this one, arg2, arg3. So first element is arguments 0, second is arguments 1, third is arguments 2. So I want to just perform the click function on one element. So I can give only one parameter here. So parameter is web element. This web element I want to perform the action. So I can give here and this is the argument 0 because it's on the first place. So I can write arguments 0. Then I want to perform click function, and then I need to use a semicolon because semicolon is for the termination of JavaScript. The whole JavaScript will be executed on the browser. And I'm trying to run it. So you can see here it it clicked on the view profile link and navigated to users 1. But when I click on using Selenium, it shows me the error because element is currently not visible to the browser. So in that cases we can use JavaScript. We can use JavaScript in any of the case, but in these cases especially we have to use JavaScript to perform the action.
Could you, sorry,
Yeah,
Pravindra,
yeah,
the argument 0 in that, if you go
yeah.
back to the script.
Uh-huh.
So whatever is in the codes, that is the JavaScript command, correct?
Right.
And how does it know, okay, I mean, arguments in reference to what?
Arguments 0 is reference to first argument. You can give any number of arguments like second argument and then third argument.
Okay.
So first one is argument
Okay.
0, then 1, and then 2.
So argument, it is looking at the view profile, which we have already picked the element.
Yes,
So it will use that as the argument,
yes.
and then it just, okay. So, okay.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
okay. Now we can move ahead the collection framework. So collection framework is nothing but like group of elements. I'll show you on Paint. So suppose if I want to create some grouping of elements, like these are some elements. You can say is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you are just giving the value integer a, so it might be stored in memory somewhere else, like on, you can say memory address 1000. When I am giving integer I equals to 2, it might be stored in 2000 address, which is memory address basically. So if you can understand the memory, it's very good. Otherwise you can just understand this one as a reference. So it's the address of the memory block, and I'm giving 3. It might be stored in somewhere else. In suppose we are storing is for 3000. So it is basically picked by the Java JVM on which it wants to put the value. So it's basically on different kind of addresses, 1000, 2000, 3000 in this one. Now suppose if I want to pick four number, this one, so it JVM basically goes to 4000 address and then print the value 4. And then if I want to go to uh, second value, I need to go to this address. I mean JVM will go to this address and then print the 2. So it will take some time to fetch the value from different memory addresses. but if I know these are the sequence or these are related to one kind of data type, these all are kind of integer. So we can create one kind of data structure which is having, we can say, is a group of same kind of data element. So that thing you can say is a collection. So we already know the list is also a collection, and there are different kinds of collection as well. So we are talking about collection in detail. So collection is nothing but collection is grouping of web elements, or you can say collection of elements of same data type. If the data type of the elements are same, you can group that. So that are the collections. So I can show you the example in the list. Like you are creating a list. So you can see I'm creating a list with 8 elements, which is of integer. All are of the same kind of elements. Now I want to fetch 4, the fourth element of the list. So list is starting, suppose this list is starting with the index 1000, and each index is, you can say, it just incremented by 1. Memory index, I'm talking about the memory index. So you can see here, if the list known the first index 1000, it wants to fetch the seventh element, it will just increase 6 in 1000 memory address and just directly go to 7. It's very easy to fetch the element from list. So you can see that there is a benefit of searching the element, fetching the element, writing the element in the list, or modification of list is very fast. So that's why we can use the collection framework for grouping of the elements. So we can see there are different kinds of list. So we can talk about two lists. Firstly the array list, and the second one is linked list. Lists are similar to array, but array is fixed size, but list is dynamic size. So I want to create array list. It is in Java util package. So E is representing the generic type. If I know this array list is type of string, or suppose it is integer type, so we can give integer here. You can give any name. Like I'm want to give the list.
Praveen,
Yeah.
hi. Yeah, so array and array list are two different type of elements.
Yes. So basically, array is fixed type. When you're initializing the array, you need to give the on which size array you want to create. Like I want to create the 10 size array. So firstly, you need to declare the array int a equals to int 10, right?
Right.
So the 10 blocks are all occupied, but it might need not to use in future. So if you are declaring only two variables, that means 8 blocks are remaining empty, but you have declared
Right.
that. So that kind of issues are remain with the array. So to overcome that kind of issues, we have array list. Array list is kind of dynamic. You do not need to just create the array list with the size. You can just declare the list, and then when you put any kind of variable, it will use dynamic structuring. It will
So then array list is
uh
same as list?
array list is, yeah, same as list, but there are different kinds of, you can say, internal structure of creating the list. So Java uses array list, linked list, or there are
Right.
different kinds of lists
So
are available, but the concept
so
of that is
array
same.
right. So array list is same as list, what we already learned.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So here we can add the element. It's integer type. We can give any number of integers. This is we already learned. So I can just print it. So you can see the grouping of elements. So the same way we can create the linked list. This is linked list. So you can see both the lists are same, but when you see the coding of this list, this is basically using internal structure differently. So you do not need to understand how this is creating the list, because we are not going in the development field. We are just using this to iterate the list or storing our list inside it. So we just need to understand why we are using two different lists. If someone is asking you, you can say, if you want to access the data, suppose I want to access the fourth index value from the list. So in that case, we need to use array list. But if someone wants to modify the data inside the list, then you need to use linked list. So I can write that thing on the running notes. If we intend to access the data and linked list, if we intend to manipulate the data, or you can say modify the data. Why I'm saying this? Because there are basically different kinds of algorithm which you might have heard about in the data structure. So we are not learning the data structure here. We are just need to understand how can we use a list in our code. So if someone asks me why we are using array list and linked list, so I can say, if you want to access the data from the list, so I can use array list, because array list is faster to access the data. If you want to access the data, it is faster to use array list. But if you want to manipulate some data, if you want to modify some value, we need to use linked list, because linked list is faster to modify the data. Faster means, I can show you how it will work. But we do not need to understand the internal structure of that.
When you say modify the data, you're referring to re replacing an existing data, right?
Yes.
not adding, like because list automatically it grows as you add.
Yes, right.
Only replacing or rewriting existing data is what you mean when you say modifying or manipulating data.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
So suppose if I want to access the value of on this index 0, 1, 2, 3 and the third index. So if my intention is just to access the data, so then in that case I need to use array list. But if I want to modify the data, suppose here value is 5, I want to modify this to 6, or you can say 68. In that case I have to use linked list, because linked list is faster in manipulation. But the uses of both are same. Both are having the same kind of functions. Both are looking very similar to us, but the internal structure is different. One more thing about the list is ordered collection. Why I'm saying it is ordered? It is ordered means you can access it via index. Another thing we are going to learn is set. So set is unordered collection. Why I'm saying unordered collection? You can't access it via index. So there is no guarantee if you are putting the value inside the set one by one, like you are putting 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's not guaranteeing that it will be stored. It will be adding the ahead place of the previous one. It's not guarantee. So it can be stored a previous one, or it can be stored after one. So that's why I'm saying is we can't access it via index. So that's why it's unordered collection. And also there is a difference. List can have duplicate elements, and list can have only unique elements.
Why do we use set? Sorry.
Yeah, you can see there is a difference. Set can have only unique elements, but list can have duplicate elements. If you want to store the data which is unique, like you don't want to duplicate the data, in that cases you can use set. I'll show you how can we use a set as well.
So set is a type of list.
No, set is different from list.
So then why use set? Why don't we use array if it array can also have duplicate elements.
Yes,
So the only advantage of using set is to keep unique elements.
yes. Advantage of
And
set is that, yeah.
set is also dynamic in size.
Yes,
Like it grows based on the data put in.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we are going to use set. So like similar to the list, like there are two types, linked list and the array list. Set can be of different types. We are going to use the hash set here. So we can create the object hash set. We are using here a string. You can use an value any name, then hash set. When I am putting the value dot, you can see here add. Add is the function to add the value here. I'm giving hello, or I can give A, B, C, D, E, F. So when I'm printed, you can see when I'm using for loop, or I can use, I want to try the index. So for the index, there is a get function in the list, but you can see there is no get function for the hash chat. For the set, there is no get function because we can't access it via index. So how can we iterate that? We can iterate that using for loop. So it's a type of string. So we give the temp string and then hash. Then we can print it one by one. So you can see it iterates a list. I mean the hash set. But if I'm giving the duplicate elements, suppose I'm giving same a 4 times. So it will not add a 4 times. It will add only a only once. When I'm trying to run it, you can see it will only printing a b c d e f. It's not printing a 4 times because it can add the element only once. If it is duplicate, it will override that, or you can say it will discard the element.
And you can access the set data only by value?
uh,
Because you said there's no index for this, right? It's not there's no index, it's unordered or unorganized. So
yes,
in order to access, like, I don't know, D,
you can
you,
you can see the first one is a list because it is ordered collection. When you are going to store some value like a b c d e, so in list it will add a, then b here, then c here, then e, then f.
right. So after writing, when you have to access, say, E, you use in the list, you can use by index 3, right?
Yes, yeah.
And in a set, in order to access an element,
Yes, that you can understand like this oval. So when I'm going to store a, it is stored here.
maybe somewhere,
Yeah, it is stored in b. It can be stored here like that.
right?
So
So you're basically searching for, if I have to get, you just basically searching for that text, E or D or whatever.
so when I'm having the set, so that would be having the unique elements. So it will basically iterate element one by one. So how I'm saying the one by one, if you are iterating it, it will fetch any of the element first. Like if it will fetch a, then it will say if I'm already searched the a, then what's the next element. So it will fetch the unique element, like it c is unique, then it will fetch the c element, then b, any of the element it can search. There is no guarantee which element will be fetched. So basically I am saying that it is not ordered collection, it is unordered.
Right. My question was,
Mhm.
if you go back to the script,
Okay.
here you're just adding these, right?
Yes.
Hash add, you're just creating that set.
Hmm.
Let's say you already created, and you want to pick one of those elements.
Okay.
You cannot do that. Is that what you're saying?
No, you cannot
You
do that. No.
You just, when you access set, you access it as a whole, everything in that set.
Yes.
You cannot pick one of the elements in that set. That is not, you cannot do that.
You can do that, but you cannot do that directly. You cannot access by via index. But suppose if you want to access C, right?
Right,
So
right.
in the for loop, you can put if here if condition, like if
Equal.
temp equals C. So then it will print, or you can put any action here. Otherwise, it will not perform the action. So when you perform the action, it will print C here.
Okay.
But you cannot access it via index. But you can put any kind of
Right.
looping here. Yeah.
Yeah. In the background, it's going to just randomly go and get that. It can take 1 second or it can take 10 seconds based on how it does it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So it is a hash set. We can also try the null value. There is a null kind of value in Java. Null is basically referring that there is nothing. So when I am trying to run it, it prints null also. So there is no provision that it can have null or not. It can have null. So both can have null. You can see here. I can say can have null value. It is similarity with the list. So it is similar to the similarity with list and set. So now there is another collection which is hash map. So we have learned hash. You can say list, linked list, and a node list. Then we learn the hash set. Then we are going to learn hash map. So if we have already had list and set, then what's the need of map? Need is hash map is collection of key and value pairs. So there is a key and value pairs, like I want to search the name and the age. So there are, so suppose the name of the person is Ram and the age is 25 and the name of the person is Pravendra and the age is 26 and the name of the person is Lina, age is 25, and like that. And suppose in some condition I want to fetch the age of Pravendra. So I how can I deal with that situation? So Pravendra is my key and 26 my value. So if I'm going to the key, it should return me the value. So there should be the provision. If I'm accessing the key, it will return me the value. So in how can we do that? So there is a map concept. We will use that concept here. So you can see here, it asking me for key and value. So key and value could be anything. So in my case, key is string type and the value is integer type. So I need to give a string here. Sorry, string and then integer. Then I need to give the value and the variable name and the same new hash map. And here you can see there are different options are available. So there is no add option. Here is put option. So we need to remember that if you want to add the string and value pair, then we need to use put function. First is the key. Suppose key in my case is Ram and the value is 25. So this is my hash map here, the key and value pair. Now I want to access Praveen's age. So I can just use get function with the key. Key is Praveen. So basically it returns me the age of Praveen. So it is returning me a string. So I can get the value in string age. Now I can print the value. So now
So the returned value from get is always a string type because
no.
the value stored is integer, right?
Yeah, it yes, right. So I'm wrong. So it's int. So basically it's returning the value as integer because I have stored the value as an integer. So it's returning the age of Ravendra.
Why would we use set if it looks like this map can keep the key value of that? I'm sorry, not the key. What is the first argument, which is the key, right? The
Right.
key has to be unique here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can I have another line there to say map dot put dot ram dot? I cannot have the same key, right?
We can try,
Will that
but key should be unique.
correct?
So you can see here only one entry. If you change the value here, so the second value will appear here. So you can see second value will override the first key.
Hmm. Okay, so it does not restrict you from having the same key repeated.
Yes.
So when it gets stored, it will be a separate entry in the map, right?
Yeah.
Or will it be overwriting it? Looks like it will be overwriting it.
When you are using the same key, but value is different, so it will override the first one because you
Mhm.
are going to access the value by the key.
Okay.
So how can we iterate the map? In previous cases, there is only value which we stored in list or either set. But here two values are associated with hash map, which is key and value. So we can iterate either by key or either by value or either by map entry. So there are three cases using which we can iterate it, either by entries or either by key value, I mean key set or either by value set. So I can use map entry. So here is a map Java util. So you're asking me the type string integer. I can give any name, the temp. Oh, sorry. Basically, I need to use map.entry. Entry. It will basically store the key value pair. You can see here the definition. It returns me the entry key value pair, but one by one. So I can
The
give
map dot, I'm sorry,
yeah.
is the map has to be lowercase or uppercase?
This is basically interface. So I need to use in the cap.
You have defined in line 19 a map object, right?
Oh, this is a variable. We can use any of the variable name. I can give anyone. I can give a map
So,
one here. This is a variable name only.
okay.
So using this, I can print key and value. Key is, then I can print value. So key is basically get key function, and the value is get value function. So you can print it. So you can see key is prevent and the value is 26. Key is sham and value is 20. You can see here.
Um, if I could ask you to clarify that for statement, the first argument is I see only like two over there, right? For the for loop.
Okay.
So what is the starting? What is the increment?
Here in the for loop.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a basically a similar which we have used to iterate the list of a string. In our case, I'll show you this one. Not this one. Hash set. Yeah, this one. So here you can see I'm iterating the hash. So hash is returning this type of string. So I am using a string temp here, right?
Right. And
So here in the
temp
same way,
was
I'm using map one dot entry set. So entry set returning me all the key value pairs in some entry. You can say is a set which contains entry with key and value associated with it. So I'm iterating it one by one. When you hover it, you can see the definition is returning the set with entry object with string and integer. So I'm iterating it with the same one. Map.entry return me the same thing. So you can see entry set returning me set entry this one hash map.entry set this one. So I'm using the same kind of object here. Then I'm using the function get key and get value. If you are if this is very complicated for you, so you can use the second loop. We can iterate it using key set also.
no, Pravindra, I was just trying to understand even in the case of list, we are not using the for index, I mean for loop standard format here, which is usually for you have the starting index, the condition, and then the increment. So we are not following that format here, correct?
Which format you are talking about?
In a simple for loop index, right? For
Yeah.
usually put in I equals 1, I less than 10, or I plus plus. We have three arguments in that for statement.
Yes, yes.
So we are not using that three arguments here in the case of list or over here
No, there is
for map.
not three arguments, only two arguments. First one is map entry temp, and the second one is map one entry set. This is
Right. The increment is optional.
increment is
I'm
optional.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the highlighted area, you are actually defining temp there? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand that.
Okay, I'm showing you another loop so you can understand better. So we can iterate it using key also. So key is my string type. So I am giving string temp, and my map is map one using
Oh, the pair.
key set. So you can see key set is returning me the set of string, right? So basically, I want to iterate the set of string, which is string type. So I can print the value using this key. Using temp, there is a get. mm,
Maybe if you use a different variable, because the keyword and the variables we are using, everything sounds similar. So I still haven't got it, but I don't know if you have the time to explain. If you could use the different terminologies like variables to the different more not
mm,
generic terms, I think that would help. It's just me. I don't know the rest of the class. So,
sure, sure. So you can we know the temp is our key, so we can print it. You can see here values are printed. This one is for the first one int age, and these are the list which is printed using sysout. You can iterate it by key set or iterate it by complete entry of map. You can try it at your own system so you can understand betterly. So we can write it hash map is collection with key value pairs. We can iterate using for loop or by iterator. I'll show you how can we do that. If I want to iterate list Yes. So there is one way to iterate the list. Suppose I want to iterate first list, then what we need to do, we need to use for loop. Like for this list, I want to use, okay, I want to change this name so you can understand the concept. Otherwise, you will be confusing with the list name. I can give num. So I want to use for loop over this list. So the list is type of integer. So I can use int temp, then num. I can print temp. So it prints me 0, 1, 2, 3. But if I want to use any other alternate to iterate, there is an alternate to iterate it using num. There is an iterator dot. When you are pressing dot, there is a function iterator which returns me the iterator. So when you are hovering it, you can see the type which is returning is this one. So I can copy it and paste it here and give the name to iterator is it. Suppose I am giving it it. So how can we iterate using this variable? We can choose any of the loop. Suppose if I am using while loop,
If I just try to print IT there with the what would be the result?
result is just the object name which is hash code. So which I am printing it, it will print me the hash code of this iterator. This is hash code
Mhm.
basically.
Okay.
So if I want to iterate, I need to use a loop, which is a standard loop is while to iterate the iterator, because it needs to iterate till the next element is available for that iterator. So suppose my iterator is it, I need to check is there next element is available or not. So there is a function hash next which returns me the boolean value. Either it is true or false. If it next value is available, that means it is true. Otherwise, it will return false. If it will return false, that means the loop will exit. So if I want to print it next value, so there is a function next which prints me next value till it has next value. When I print it, so it will print all the values one by one till it has next value. So any kind of collection which is implementing iterator, you can use this iterator. This is very simple, simple to remember and simple to understand. So this is all over about collection framework. Now we can check accessing all links of web page. Hmm. Suppose if there are some links are available. We can choose any other link. Hmm. Suppose there is a web page. There are lots of links are available. So if I want to automate that thing, like if there are lots of links are available, there might be some links which are dead, which are not working currently. So how can we automate that thing? Suppose there is a page which is having 100 links. So you are not going to check manually that 100 links. So we need to automate that process, which will automatically find the dead links. So that kind of questions are might be asked by interviewer. So in that case, I need to iterate the list of all web elements which is having list. I mean, which is having links. So how can we get the locator for that links? You can check the links. Links are basically having the tag name A. All the links which are present on the page must be having the link A, which is called in the terms of HTML is anchor tag. So firstly we need to get the list of anchor tags. So how can we get the list? We can get the list by using tag name, which is because tag name is common. So here we can use tag name of A. Now we need to use find elements because we need to iterate all over the elements which is having the tag name A. So I need to give list of web element. So this element has anchor tag list. I can give any name. Now I'm able to find out the list of web elements which is having node anchor tag A. So you can see every link is having the anchor tag, this one. So when I'm writing this code, driver.find elements by the tag name is returning me all the links present on the page. So I'm getting this locator to the list of web elements which with the variable anchor tag list. So now I can iterate all of the links. So type of element is web element. So I need to iterate using web element. I can give any name, then colon, anchor tag list. Then what I need to do, I want to click on link. Suppose carriers link. Not this one. So you can see when I click on join, it it redirects me to the register page. So that means title is create user profile. So the title is available. That means link is available. Otherwise, it will show me 404 not found. So if the title is not the 404, then I can go back to the previous page while performing navigation back. and then again click on another link which is available on the page. So I will again click on any link, then again perform the back, then click on other link, then can perform the back. So that kind of situation you can see is looping condition. So I can use a looping condition to iterate the list. So here I want to perform the click function on the element.
So Pravindra, we are assuming that every link on that page is going to open a new page.
Yes. In my case, I am assuming that each and every
Right.
link will be opened in the same page, and then I need to go back to the page.
Right.
If the condition is different, then we can use the condition loop, like if loop. If some links are like opening in another page, then we can handle that situation accordingly.
Okay, thanks.
So after click on the link, I want to perform some verification part. So I can give the if condition and else condition here. So there might be some locator, or I can just get the title of the page. How can we get the title? I can get the title using driver dot get title. On this I want to perform the comparison using equals. If it is 40 found, that means I am saying that page is not available, but it will print me page is not available for all of the pages. So I also need to check which page is not available. So I can print the link also. Page is not available. Which page is not available? I can get the current URL of the page. If title is not 40 found, sorry, if title is 40 found, that means it will print not available. Otherwise, it will say pages available. We can iterate both of them, if page is available or page is not available. So we will know that which page is iterated with this code. After clicking verification part, then we can perform the back. How can we perform the back function? Using navigate dot back. We have learned that in previous class. The back function, we can perform the back. Then again it will iterate the loop. We will click on other element, then get the title verification part, and then perform the back. So that kind of code we can create for all kind of you can say all kind of iteration for the anchor tag list. If the interview is asking that if how can you handle different kind of situations, so you can say that we can create different kinds of if else loop to handle that kind of situation for the anchor tags. You can try with any kind of pages with your PC. So you are very familiar with this code.
This will not include any links. So we are just looking for the links with the tag name, right? So I don't know if there will be any links which are not visible, but will be links. Will there be cases like that, or even images or icons and things like that?
Yeah, basically, if some anchor tags are hidden on the page, it might throw the exceptions. So in that cases, so I already told you that there are some you can say edge cases. We need boundary cases. We need to handle that. So if there are some hidden elements, it will throw some exceptions. So we need to use try catch here. Like when you are going to click on the link, you can use try catch here try the clicking of the element, then you can perform catch exception. We are assuming that all links are working. If some links are not working or hidden, then working I mean, so working means that Selenium is not able to click on the element. So then we can use try catch block. Here you can say sys out element is not available. So in that case, your code will work in any kind of situation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because our main purpose is to iterate all over the links which is currently visible to the user. That kind of modifications you might need to made at the work, you can say work environment. You need to do that. After that, we need to move ahead. These topics might take time. Okay, so I'll show you how you can install TestNG in your system. So we will go ahead in my next class with the different kinds of frameworks, setting up Eclipse. So setting up Eclipse with TestNG, and then what's the difference between JUnit and TestNG? These are two frameworks which are basically used for testing purpose. Like there are different kinds of annotations which we can use to create our test cases. Then execution of a script using TestNG. Then we can cover cross-browser testing. Like if the same code I want to run on different browsers, then how can we do that? So that kind of thing we will cover that. And sequential and parallel execution. If I want to run the test cases parallelly on two different browsers, and how, or the same kind of browsers but on two instances, then how can we do that? We will cover that. And the priority of test cases. Sometimes the test cases are priority. You have 1,000 test cases. You want to just execute only 200 test cases, which is high priority. So in that kind of things, we can achieve our condition using TestNG. So I will cover that, and then I will cover GitHub with Eclipse. So you might be heard that there is lots of GitHub projects available on the internet. So how can we maintain the project with GitHub? How can we pull the code? How can we push the code to GitHub? That kind of thing I will cover. So as of now, the time is very less. So I will cover this thing, setting up Eclipse with TestNG. Or do you have any questions? You can ask me. Yeah.
One quick question, Pravindra. You showed how to use the JavaScript for handling hidden web elements.
Yeah.
Is that the only place when you're on a Selenium project? Is that the only time you have to use JavaScript, or there will be more than that that we need to know? Because if you are not familiar with JavaScript, then it's another learning thing. So
Yeah. Basically, JavaScript is more powerful than any of the languages. So browser is supporting JavaScript. So that's why we need to have basic knowledge of JavaScript. Because sometimes, like you can see on my web page, if I want to perform some function on below of the page, this is not currently visible, right? So how can we scroll down to that element? This one, the
okay.
scrolling function basically provided by the JavaScript. So there is a scrolling function is in the JavaScript. So in that cases, there is no scrolling function is available with the Selenium API. So in that case, you also need to go with the JavaScript.
So basically, even for a drop down, if there is a scroll bar and if you have to validate if that scroll bar is working, you can do that through Selenium. You
Yeah,
have to use the
no,
JavaScript.
no, we can.
Even
That drop down box is basically all the things are visible, but it's not visible to the user, but it's visible to the browser at that point of time.
Right. So there could be scroll bars, vertical scroll bars, or horizontal scroll bars within a frame, right?
Yeah.
Say when you load this page here, even if after you maximize, there is a frame on the top portion of your browser
Yes.
where you have a frame and you have those scroll bars can be tested using Selenium, or should you use JavaScript for
Yeah.
that
In
as well?
that cases, we need to use JavaScript
Okay.
because frames are similar to the windows, but it behaves separate windows in the same window instance. Okay. So we can
Okay.
cover this topic, setting up Eclipse with TestNG as of now. So in Eclipse, basically to create the TestNG project, you need to go help section. Then there is a Eclipse Marketplace. So this option you need to select Eclipse Marketplace. So here you have option find. So you need to search TestNG in that box. I'm writing TestNG, then press enter. So you can see the change JUnit helper, but you don't need to select it. This is TestNG for Eclipse. So you need to do install. In my case, it is already installed. So I can do update. When you install it, the same way, it will show this window. So here, this is optional, but we can choose the required one. Then confirm. Then accept the agreement. Then finish. So I can do the run it background because it's taking time. So now, when your test engine is installed, you can click on any of the project like this one. Then there is an option available at the bottom with TestNG. So that means TestNG is correctly installed. So then it will ask to restart it. So you can restart the system. Not the system, only the Eclipse window. So then you are able to see TestNG option in any of the project. So that means your TestNG is correctly configured. Then here you are asking to restart my Eclipse. I'm saying yes. So now you can try with this option. It's basically showing to create testng class or to convert to testng. When you are using convert to testng, if you have any simple Java project, it will convert to testng. Convert to testng means it will create a testng XML. So what is testng XML? I'll show you in the next class. How can we use testng XML? How can we create the testng test cases, and how can we prioritize the test cases? That kind of thing I will cover in next class. So now I think I have done with this class. So do you have any questions, guys?
I'm sorry, Ravindra, I don't know if I missed when you explained what test ng is for.
TestNG basically is a framework to create the test cases. There are some features are available which are helping us to create the test cases and manage them. So if you are managing the test cases, like there are lots of things to manage when we are creating the test cases. Like we need to give some priority the test cases on which browser I want to perform the actions. Like I don't want to configure my test cases again and again. If I want to run the test case on Chrome browser, then I need to change the property. If I want to run the program same test case on the Firefox browser, then again I need to change the property and the browser value. So then kind of thing I can't do in the real situation in the real work environment. I can't do that thing. So that kind of situation I can handle with testng. Testng provides me the annotation support and the testng XML. In testng XML I can modify the value, like the value of Firefox, I mean browser. You can say key is browser and value is Firefox. Key is browser and value is Chrome. So it will automatically identify on which browser you want to perform the action. You want to you can say execute the test case. So that kind of situation we can handle using testng.
So this will be in addition to the test management tool that, for example, like QC, is that what it does, or it is more specific to Selenium browser specific?
Not the browser specific. Basically it's you can say you are going to manage the execution of test case. When you're not the test case, you can say the test script. QC and all the things are managing the test cases, but in our cases we need to run the test script. So to manage the execution of test script, we have to use testng.
So there is no tie between QC and Selenium. You have to use, even if you're using QC, you need to have testng in order to execute your scripts.
Yes, I'll show
Okay.
you in next class how you can use testng, because it is different from QC.
Or if I make a statement, Selenium test scripts can only be run using testng management tool. Will that be a correct statement?
No, Selenium can be run. So I can make a difference using Java program and the testng. If you are running the program using Java application as a Java application, you need to use the main function. Everything will be put in the main function, so the execution
Right.
begins from the main function. But if this is not the correct way to manage the test cases, because in the real environment, the test cases could be 1,000 or 2,000. So you can't put all the 1,000 test cases in single main function. So in that kind of management, a test management of the script, you need to use a testng.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. So guys, I'm winding for today. Thanks a lot.